Which Side Podcast is a proud member of the Which Side Media Collective.
This episode is sponsored by Eric Bayer.
Yeah, and he's doing something fucking awesome.
He had a really awesome, interesting idea. So what he wanted to do, instead of shouting out something, instead of promoting something, what he said is that he will do a matching sponsorship for 5 people this week.
But they have to do it this week?
Yep, this week. So basically, you could sponsor an episode for $5. Eric will pick in the other $5, but it's your sponsorship.
It's fucking awesome.
Way to go, Eric. You are my hero. So that's it. This week, first 5 people, you can sponsor for $5. Eric will pick up the rest for you, and you can have us say whatever you want.
If I were you, I'd say thanks, Eric.
I would say that's probably pretty good. But not only will he'll match up to a $50 donation. So, yeah, $5 will get you the sponsorship. But if you plop down 25, he'll plop down 25.
Really?
And boom, $50 donation.
Fucking cool.
It's way fucking cool. So help us out. You know how excited I was about that?
Yeah,
seriously, help us out. 5 donations, he'll match up to $50, and we'll say whatever the fuck you want.
This is episode 85.
This week we have Alvino from the band of Feather and Bone. You can get their music right now for free on Bandcamp.
Go check it out.
So just Google them. Go to their Bandcamp, download their music, check them out, hit them up at a show, say, I heard you on Which Side? Give them a fist bump.
Give them a like on their Facebook.
Totally. Give them a creepy hug when you see them on
Can you
tour.
Can you poke pages? If you can, poke them on Facebook.
I don't know.
Because that sounds sexy.
I think that's more like a dating site thing. So if they're on a dating site, poke them. Poke them. Poke them.
On Facebook, you can poke people.
I have no idea. I don't have Facebook. I don't know how that works.
No, neither. That's flirty, though. My dad poked me the other day.
Wow, taken out of context. So what events do we have going on this week?
Well, last week I asked people to write a prisoner, and I even offered a fucking membership
For every prisoner
for any person that wrote a prisoner.
So you wrote 12 prisoners, your membership. For free.
Guess how many people wrote?
Not a fucking person.
I hope you feel proud of yourself.
So, we're going to extend it this week again. Write a prisoner, tag us in any social media so we know you did it. Just say, hey, I wrote a prisoner today. Send them the link to the political prisoners list. Denver Anarchist Black Cross has an amazing list. But just Google it. There's amazing lists out there from a whole bunch of different places. Find a political prisoner. Write them fucking anything. It doesn't matter.
Honestly, if you just wanted to, tell them about what you did today.
Tell them about the show. Just say, hey, I heard on a show to write a political prisoner. I've never done it before. Blah.
Yeah. It makes a prisoner's day. And I can't reiterate that. Every time, I would look forward to mail time just because I was hoping to get a letter. That made me get through the day, just waiting for a letter. So, fucking do it.
Okay, let's see how many people actually do it this week. June 28th, 1969. Stonewall riots begin in New York City, which is the start of the modern gay rights movement. That was some fucked up shit if you don't know much about it. But if you like these every single week, they're in the Slingshot Personal Organizer. They don't sponsor us. We just do it because we like them. So support them if you can.
Enjoy.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side? Which side are you on? 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 Which side are you on?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, I can see myself but not you.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Yeah, we try to keep video off if it helps just cut down on bandwidth, that's cool.
Perfect. Let me
Sweet.
go to speaker then.
Sweet.
Perfect. There it goes.
Yeah, sorry I was late. I'm helping organize a Salt Lake City Veg Fest, and that's fun.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, that takes a lot of work.
Yeah. I'm Jeremy, by the
definitely.
way.
Hi, Jeremy. I'm Alvino.
How's it going?
Doing well. How you doing today?
I'm tired as shit. I've been packing for a move, so
Where you moving to?
just moving houses just down the street.
Oh,
Pretty
cool.
much.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
Good.
So that's what I've been doing instead of organizing a veg fest because
Well, that's a busy time then in general.
So how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Like I said, I'm tired. So
Just, other than being tired of moving?
yeah. So what have you been up to this weekend?
Mainly work. Just hanging out and working and let's see, riding my bike, and that's pretty much it. Pretty simple things. Nothing too outlandish.
How's bike riding in Denver? I assume it's pretty nice. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, do you hear a child
I
crying
hear.
in the
I know.
background?
So no worries. You're fine.
Sorry, my daughter was just crying in the background for some reason.
No worries. That's why I came outside. I was like, my cat is crying in the back. I was like, if I stay inside, you're gonna hear a cat meowing the entire time, and then the dog will start, and then it just turns into chaos. So
Yeah, but that's
I came
adorable.
outside. Oh yeah, they like feed off one another. It's insane. And then good thing because we have a bunny too, and he doesn't make any noise, which is fortunate as well. But he probably sits there and gets pretty annoyed with the amount of noise from those two. So
You know, I've always heard that bunnies have a tendency to break their own backs. How true is that?
that apparently it's very true. They're very sensitive since they're prey animals, and they get very nervous. And I guess if they get too nervous, they can like break their own backs and give themselves heart attacks and stuff. So they're pretty delicate. Until like recently, we've actually learned a little bit more about how to care for Ziggy. That's his name, and just to make sure that he's comfortable, you know, because they spook real easily. And, you know, with him, he's actually very social with us, and he doesn't mind the cat at all. The cat actually tries to play with him a little bit. He gets a little perturbed with that. But overall, and the dog has no effect on him either. So we're pretty fortunate that he's so chill and relaxed. But at the same time, he still has his natural instinct of being a rabbit. So we try to learn as much as we can about him and make sure that we accommodate the things that you know, keep him safe and keep him happy without putting him in any kind of harm's way, you know.
Do you have any problems with Ziggy chewing on cables? I've heard that's another problem people have.
Not at all. It's actually the cat who has the problems. He is obsessed with the white cable, like the white Apple cables for your charger.
Oh man,
God, they're expensive.
Oh, it's terrible. Our roommate, they have a place to live for a minute, and that my old apartment, they stayed with me for a month. Sydney was on tour with, I think she was with PETA at the time. And the minute he walked in, like the hello from the cat was, "I'm going to chew right through your phone cable," and that's exactly what he did. Like he just immediately ate it. So we have to more worry about the cat chewing through things. The rabbit does not touch a single thing. Like I say, he's so well behaved and just like everything. He's just the nicest rabbit I've ever met. And I used to volunteer at like the House Rabbit Society here in Colorado, which is like a bunny rescue. They'll take in bunnies and then try to readopt them out and kind of do education pieces to people who want to learn more about rabbits. And when you're there, like there's at least 120 rabbits kind of in their garage that they take care of, and really nice quarters. They take really good care of them. Like the lady who runs and organizes House Rabbit Society of Colorado, she is so knowledgeable. But you really get to know these rabbits, and they're all so different from one another. Like their characteristics, like some are very, need a partner. Some of them don't want a partner. Some bite, some don't bite. Like you really start to learn different things, and they're little different personality traits. And that's when I kind of came home and started working with Ziggy. Like not working with Ziggy, but trying to see, what was his characteristics. And and it's kind of funny for a rabbit. He doesn't like anything green. Like we try to give him lettuce, kale, carrot tops, things like that. He doesn't want them. He just wants bananas and apples and fruit. And we actually just discovered that those aren't too healthy for rabbits. So we're like, oh, sees all of that, and he's kind of bummed out recently that we've seized his treat time, and he's not too, like I said, not too happy on that. But yeah, no, he's very, very well like behaved. We let him run around the house, and he like loves being open and free because he does these little jumps, and he hops around, and like he gets real excited and kind of shakes real fast, and then just does a huge jump, whether it's straight or not. He'll like kind of curve his body and go in whichever direction he likes, and apparently that's a good sign of a happy bunny. So yeah, he's awesome.
I'm totally fascinated by this because growing up, my parents raised rabbits, but not as pets. So yeah,
and he's absolutely adorable. To add that on top of it,
it's definitely interesting. Yeah, and it's definitely interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, I had a bunny as a child, and like he lived in a hutch, and was never allowed in the house, and that's kind of was like standard. So like when Ziggy came, I was like, what did he like, do we put him in something, or does he just run around free? And Sydney was like, he just runs around. I was like, oh, okay. So it was kind of a learning experience for me, and like I'm also never growing up with cats. I never, my family weren't cat people. We always had dogs, and vice versa for Sydney. She never grew up with dogs. She only had our cat and a few other cats. So it's like there's been a learning experience on both of our sides where she functions really well with cats, I function really well with dogs, and we both kind of like find those difficulties with learning the traits and habits, like because a cat just you're on their time completely. Like a dog will somewhat listen and obey in certain ways like that. Although I don't ever train my dogs because I don't like that idea in general. I mean, there's basic training traits that I think they're for safety, but other than that, I let them just have their own personality. Like I don't want to turn my dog into some robot dog for my pleasure, and, so they listen to everything I say. But it's like for some reason I feel that's just messed up. I'm like that's not right. Something about that just seems like maybe a good old fashioned sit and stay are good. Just good etiquette for safety for them when they go out in public. But I know people who like train their dogs to do like tricks and walk and jump through hoops. It's like I don't know at that point, or like some people like scold their dogs. It's like that's they're friends. They're family members. They're not your pet. And I hate that word. And, I think that's something that I learned through a cat definitely even more was, I told him no one time, and I was like, why am I telling this cat no? He's nothing about that is going to make sense to him in any way, shape, or form. So it's like, I definitely learned that with him. I was like, yeah, some animals, like I guess most, all animals are just, they're meant to be their own, and, we belong to them, and we're their companions. And I do believe that, I'm responsible for their safety and well-being, because if I were to just let them run around free in the streets, something could probably happen to them. But, other than that, like it's their world, and we share it with them. So I think that's kind of important to remember. And especially with the bunny too, you can't tell a bunny no. You can't put a bunny on a leash and walk him outside. It's like he's his own creature, and he's going to do what he wants. And you kind of go with that flow, and every single day you learn something new about them.
So what brought you to veganism and this like outlook on life?
I come from a traditional like Mexican family, like lard and everything, meat with mostly every meal. My mom was from Colorado, and like from like the Southern Valley, so it's like very family oriented. My father's from Mexico. He immigrated to the U.S. in the 70s, I want to say. Crossed the border. He met my mother in Idaho, and they were married since then, and happily married until my mom passed away about 5 years ago. And after she passed, that was kind of my like a turning point in my life. Like I was like going to school for music and business. I was kind of set like I'm going to move to New York or LA, and I'm going to own some fancy Mercedes and screw people out of money and sign big bands and like this whole business lifestyle. And I was like, I'm gonna we wear suits everywhere and have expensive things. And I've always been a punk kid, since I was 14 and heard some of the first bands and listening to hardcore and everything like that. But I think at that point in my life, I was like kind of like, I hate to use the word growing up. I put that in quotations strongly. At that time, and thinking like I need to grow up, quote unquote, and get a real job, and again, quote unquote, real job, and all these things. And after she passed, it was kind of just it was real sudden passing too. Like it wasn't like she went into surgery and everything went wrong and she kind of died. And so it's like, oh, like my whole life kind of went, well, does this make sense? Like for me to just like follow the same, standard routine of life of, you go to school and you get a job and then you get married and you buy a house and then you have 2 kids and have your dog and then you wait till retirement. And hopefully in between that time, you get those 2 weeks of vacation to go to, Hawaii or Disneyland with your family. And that's your only sense of peace, and I was like, after she passed, I was like, I think that's, I was like, I don't want this kind of lifestyle, that life anymore, the standardized living that people see as successful. And I had a friend who was vegetarian and he was, I always hate to admit it, but I did it mainly out of health. I was kind of unhealthy at the time, I was kind of depressed. So I was eating just crap, like the Wendy's late night meal was my best friend. And, like McDonald's was a standard hat in my house. And I was just like, I can't keep eating like this. I feel like garbage. I've always been lactose intolerant, but I kind of ignored the fact that I was. And, but yeah, like her passing was a catalyst for me to try to he was like, you should try going, vegetarian and try to take it easy. And, I'm grateful for having a friend that was so like understanding and didn't just come up to me and go vegan now, if you're not, it's like, do it now. You're an asshole if you're not vegan. And I'm like, well, it's not, it really, for some people who were raised like me, it's a completely different way of thinking where you're not around it at all and growing up. It's not any part of your upbringing to just could drastically change like that, and to have someone guide me and be like, hey, take it slow. This is what you can, you can try eat this, this, and this. And I was vegetarian for about 6 months. And then my old band went on tour and my bass player was also vegetarian. He was like, let's just go vegan. I was like, okay, like we're going to be on the road for like 4.5 weeks together. Let's just, if we can do it on the road, we can do it at home. And from that point on, that was pretty much it. It was, like I said, it started off as health. And then, I got back home from that tour and I definitely started doing more reading about it. I didn't have many friends who were vegan at the time, or like I wasn't close to anybody that I knew was vegan. So I started, reading things online and, checking out things. There's an animal sanctuary here in Colorado that's called Peaceful Prairie. I kind of went and did a tour by myself out there for one weekend, and I was just hooked. I was like, this is great. And like one of the owners, her name is Michelle. She just like during her tours, she just doesn't. There's no frills. She doesn't cover it up. She doesn't, coat it with some nice packaging. She just is very blatant with everyone and going, this is what the industry does to these animals. This is what we do as a species to these animals. We hurt them. And I kind of, clicked with me and I was like, wow. And so I did more, just all the research I did. And that's when the ethical side became more important to me and has kept pretty much my guiding light in all of this. And then, my partner is, so she's a big time activist, and especially when she was in California, and just having her there as well, kind of being that, like, if I ever start to lose sight of why I'm vegan, like she's always there to be the angry side of our relationship and go, that's why we're vegan. I go, you're right. This is why we're vegan. So, but,
how was your family's reaction?
My father, like it took him a while, like, again, like being from Mexico and, he grew up very impoverished. Like, he's one of 16 children. The boys never went on past 3rd grade because they had to stay on the ranch and help my grandpa, to sell the corn and stuff to make money for the family, while the girls stayed back in the town with my grandmother and like helped cook and for the boys and for my grandfather. So it was a pretty like rural lifestyle, no running water, no lights. And, it was just kind of like, it's a completely different way of life. So kind of bringing that to him, he was confused at first. Apparently in Mexico, when you say meat, that just includes cow, like just beef, straight beef. Like I was like, I don't eat meat anymore. And he's like, so you want chicken then? I'm like, no, I don't want meat anymore. He's like, chicken isn't meat. And I was like, yes, it is. He goes, no, it's not. It's chicken. So it's like, it's a whole different kind of like way of thinking. And to like break into that, at first he was kind of like, he didn't really understand. And now here we are, 7 years later or 6 years later, I'm sorry. And, now I'll go over up to his house and he'll have like rice and beans made. And, he switched over to like using earth balances for his butter, and he cut his milk intake in half and used almond milk. And he loves tofuti sour cream. Like I accidentally had it like at the house, and he ended up eating all of it. And I was like, where's that sour cream at? And he goes, well, I ate all of it. It was delicious. And he's like, I like it more than the other one that we buy. And I was like, oh, so like the vegan one. So I never told him that, but it's like he's always open to try it. I'm lucky that he's so lucky that he'll eat it. He doesn't really care. Like he still loves his meat and everything like that. And I don't really try to tell my 64-year-old father you need to go vegan, Dad, because that's what you need to do. But it's more like I'm glad to have him as a support to be. He doesn't. I hear stories about people's families going, you need to eat meat. You look awful, and you just, where are you going to get your protein from? My dad's just like, well, whatever. He's pretty cool about it. So pretty fortunate to have that, and then just have a good community of friends, and especially in Denver now, a community of just a lot of places to eat. I work for Nooch Vegan Market. It's an all vegan market here, and my friends run that, and it's just kind of cool to have a community that you can kind of turn to, because even working there, you see so many people come in. I just moved here. I don't know anybody. I don't know anything to eat. I don't know where to go. And it's you can come here and they ask a lot of questions, and it's kind of cool to have it. I think without community, you can't have veganism, because people need someone for some sort of education piece, and also to help guide, so you don't feel completely alone when you go into it. Because I think some people are so easy, especially when you've been vegan for so long, just so easy to go to anybody and go vegan. I don't know why this is so hard for you to understand. And it's some people it's hard to understand. It's scary. It's a complete change in your tradition, complete change. You just asked how your family responds. Your family from when you're a child is your main support group. They're the ones that teach you your ethics and values, and they need you depend on them. And so when your whole family kind of if you're unfortunate enough to have a family that just turns their back on you because you choose a compassionate lifestyle, you're left alone. And if there's no one there, you kind of you feel desperate for something, and that's why community is so important with it, I think. And without that, I think I wouldn't, I'd probably still be vegan, but it would have been a lot bumpier of a road for, going this long.
You said something, and it kind of blew me away, and you said it so nonchalantly. One of 16 children?
Yeah. It's crazy to me. Trust me. I know, it's, out there, it was, they had the children were, because it wasn't for religious reasons. It's not some what are those shows on TLC or whatever that have the ultra religious family who's we need to procreate for God's reasons, and Jesus told us we had to do this. It's it's not that. It's they were putting out kids mainly to keep the bloodline going, to also make sure they had people to help. My grandfather couldn't hire ranch hands. It's a labor of love. So it's out there, it's he needed all the boys that he can get to help, and he had 10 of them, luckily, to help him out with the ranch. And so yeah, it's mind blowing to now, to myself especially. Some of my uncles, after the next generation, some of them have 10 kids, 12 kids. I think one of them has 15 kids. It's nuts to think that there's so many. I have so many cousins out there, and my father and my mother had me. And I was actually adopted, so I'm the one black sheep of the family, and then I'm not going to carry on any bloodline with mine, because I'm not going to bring any children into this world, because I just don't believe in it myself personally. But yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know most of my uncles' names, because I'm how many are there? And he's there's 10 of us. I'm I don't remember all your names, and let alone my aunts. And it's hard to see all of them, because they've through the past 20, 25 years, they've just the growing fear of more gangs and drug cartels and unfortunate things like that happen in these places, that for desperation, these people have to turn to violence and easy ways of making money to support their families. And when you're out there, you see the desperation that they hit in order to that they have to make decisions like that. When they see the television, they see the way people in the U.S. live, they're we have to have that too. And it's they do what they can to try to live that lifestyle as well. And it's hard to see that, because I know I have little cousins out there still, and I have family members out there, and it's just part of me wishes that they were fortunate enough to be in the U.S., which I know the U.S. has its problems and has all its issues, but seeing it from a different standpoint, growing up and going to Mexico all the time with my family and seeing my little cousins, it is, the work here is better for them. Most of them don't even really want to be here. They just need the work, because there's no work out there. And, I even had an uncle, he's I'm just here to make money. And then when it's over, I want to go back to Mexico, because I love it there. I don't love being here. He's we're not wanted here. When, people laugh at us, people look at us like we're nothing, and we're unintelligent human beings. He's but we're very smart people, and we're industrious, and we work hard. And he's I just want to go back to my country, but I need to make money for my family. So it's it's a double-edged sword. It's too dangerous down there, but they love it still. It's like a undying devotion to something that, is not the best for them, but they want it. So yeah, you kind of learn a lot when you see the other side of it. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that if you've never been, put into that situation and to see how it works.
Anyways, you were saying you're a fucking hardcore kid, even though you're 30, which makes me feel like shit because I'm almost 33 and I consider myself a hardcore kid.
Well, say that one more time. It kind of got quiet. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, like, you're like, oh, I consider myself a hardcore kid, even though I'm 30. I'm like, well, fuck, I'm almost 33, and I still do.
Yeah, it's funny because you call yourself a kid, and I think a lot of people are like, you're not a kid. You're an adult. You're a man. It's
you're
like, yeah,
grown ass man.
I'm an adult. I it's like whatever. But at the same time, I think it's like 7 Seconds said. It's like, you're young till you die. It's life. You're as young as you want to be.
I always refer to everyone in the hardcore scene as kids, and like it'll confuse people. Like we're talking to like Scott from Earth Crisis, and I'm like, yeah, you're just a kid. I'm like, wait, you're like in your 40s. You're not really a kid anymore, I guess.
Yeah, and it's funny because people look at you and go, you're not a kid, and none of these guys are kids. They're all a bunch of old men who are balding and fat. And, it's like no, but I think our ideas, the way we think, the way we kind of approach life, we're still children. Like we get excited over dumb things, and the smallest things make us happy. Like we don't need any crazy lifestyle, like that term, the adult crash. Like that's something that people are so obsessed with getting to, and that's what ends up happening to a lot of people, and they lose focus. And like I said before, it's like they lose that thing that was theirs, that the thing that made life bearable, that made life special and fun to you. And that was that was going to shows, or hearing a band, or hearing a new band, or or whatever, landing your first trick on your skateboard, or just doing nothing with your friends for a night. It's like it's those things that made life worth living and bearable. And I think it's sad when people kind of lose that. It's like you can still grow up, you can still do your things that you have to do, and if you have a family or you get married or whatever, it's like, but don't have to, like, just because that happens doesn't mean you have to give up on the things that made you who you were, and gave you excitement as a kid. And like I have a friend, he sings for a band called The Banner, and he has a child, and I was like, every time I talked to him, I was like, how did you bear a child? Like, who let you bear a child? It's like you're a mess. Like you're just a you're just a big kid yourself. But I see the things he posts, and he's just a devoted father to his child, and to see him do that, it's like you get happy for your friends. You see them, it's like you made something bigger than you, and hopefully you instill into the next generation some great ethics that are lost with a lot of kids, that some people don't have in the first place, that to teach their children. So when you see hardcore kids and punk kids have kids themselves, it kind of gives you a glimmer of hope for the future, and going, man, these kids are this next generation are going to be the kids that run this country and make the decisions. And hopefully there's some sort of, youth of today lyrics stuck in their head that their father put in them and their mothers put in them, and they'll take that on with them in the future.
What makes me feel really old right now is that I don't seek out new bands anymore. Like, I'm content with late 90s hardcore. Like, I'm just good.
I always thought I'd end up that way too. I was like, I'm just going to be happy, listening to the same bands I've always liked and call it a day. But being in a touring band still, and everything like that, and like meeting new people and like hearing new bands every so often, it's like, it's hard not to go, wow, this band does it so well. Like you said, like late 90s, it's like I can listen to Harvest all day long and pretty much not get tired of it.
Oh, fuck. They're one of my favorite.
Definitely.
They're amazing. And it's like, then you hear a band, there's a current band called Discourse, and from the South, and they're so awesome. They do such a great job with that 90s feel. It's a nostalgic feel, but they do it like they kind of put their own flavor to it. Mm-hmm. And it's awesome to see bands kind of like, taking the influence from these older bands that you like, and, putting their modern twist on it. And it's exciting, you see all these, and like maybe I'm jaded in the sense that I hate fests, I hate reunions, I hate seeing, like I'm a huge Judge lover. I love that band. I have a tattoo behind my ear of the Judge Hammers. Like that band kind of made me feel it was okay to be angry and straight edge. But they played here the other night in Denver, and all I can see when I was watching them was dollar signs above them. It's like, how sincere is this? How real is this? And how much are you just doing this for money? It's like, obviously people are going to pay money to see you, and that's a good incentive, but not even when you're not even straight edge anymore. And, you sing the lyrics to Fed Up. Part of me kind of is jaded on that, to go, I don't care about hearing what you have to say anymore. You don't care about this anymore. You disappeared for 15 years. And now you want to pretend like you're back and that this means something to you, where I can go support a current band that really does believe in what what they're saying right now, whether it's sincere in a year or not, at least it's the right now. And it's something that, matters to them in their hearts, and at the same time, a lot of people go, well, how can you listen to, Judge or Strife or bands like that and go, these guys aren't even straight edge anymore? It's like, I can still listen to it because when they recorded those songs, that's what they believed in. It was immortalized onto, an audio track. And that's kind of something that, when I first heard it, was like, that's what they believed in. And it's kind of set in stone there, even though they may, 15 years down the road, they may not believe it in anymore. It's like the music was still written and performed with that passion in their hearts. So
it's funny that you mentioned Strife, because I felt that same way when they started coming back and I heard them play One Truth. I'm like, you can't fucking do that. Like,
yeah,
that kind of holds like a special part in my heart. Like, that's not you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't play One Truth, don't play Blistered, because it's like those songs raised me. Those songs made me feel like I wasn't some freak kid who was ashamed to be straight edge. Those songs gave me pride. They wanted me to stand up and go, I am straight edge. And if you have a problem with that, like I said, Judge gave me that right to go, I'm going to put a big middle finger in your face and say, fuck you. I'm not sorry for what I believe in, and that same thing goes for veganism nowadays. It's like, you have friends that are so strong in activism and in the community that they give you that empowerment to just go, I'm not ashamed to be who I am. I'm not ashamed to say that this is the life that I live. And then, you're right. When you see bands do that, it's kind of like, don't do that. You're discrediting it. You're making it something that it never, it's not anymore to you. And that's why, like I said, I think I get so jaded with fests and reunions, and I really don't like to go to them. Like, I think it's cool for like a lot of kids to come together, but unfortunately I live in a city where it's so torn apart right now currently, and a lot of kids don't go to shows. But there's a fest, you'll see all of them there, and they all post pictures of it. It's like, why don't you ever come to shows here and support the bands that are not just local bands, but even the touring bands that are coming through your city, and give them something to be, excited to come back to Denver for. And I think that's where I get a little jaded with that.
That being said, there, like, some of them, like Earth Crisis coming back, I can totally get behind, because they're still coming back with the same values, and
it's still the same thing. Yeah, none of them have changed. They're all, they're all avid vegans. They're all still straight edge is all hell. So it's like, when Earth Crisis comes back or they put on a new album, it's like, it's not insincere. Like, they still believe in it, and you know what I mean. That's where I get with that. Like with them, that's fine. But some bands, I'm just like, it's just weird. It's weird to see it.
A lot of that shit will bum me out. Like, we booked MDC at a house show, and like they had a manager with them that came, and there's like, when they arrived, they're like, well, we need at least $5,000 up front before we can even come in. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? This is a house show. We'll do the best. We'll do the best we can. And then all of a sudden, like, they were like, oh no, we're totally into punk and anarchy and stuff. No, we play house shows. Like,
yeah.
And then when they were playing, they kept stopping people who were dancing. And okay, Utah's got a bad rap for dancing. I'm not gonna lie, but they weren't dancing in a violent way at all. And they kept stopping, like, in the middle of their set to stop people from dancing. And it just bummed me out, the whole thing. Like, these punk rock bands, these hardcore bands just aren't what you idolized as a kid sometimes.
Yeah, it's harsh. That's why, like, I don't want to see these bands.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go watch them, because it's like, I'm gonna get bummed out. Like, I have this romantic, view in my head still that I've held on to for 15 years. Last thing I want to do is go see it and go, oh well, now that's all ruined. There goes a big chunk of my heart ripped out and thrown into a blender. It's like if like Minor Threat ever came back, I would refuse to see them. Like, I don't want to see this. I can only imagine what it had been like to be, 16 years old in DC seeing Minor Threat, and I don't want to see some revamped old hashed version of some guys who don't believe in it anymore. You know, it's like that would break my heart into 1,000 pieces. It's like everything I believe in is a lie.
I'll be honest, I'd still go.
I'd probably still go too. One of the ones I wish I could have gone to was Vatican Commandos reunion.
Moby's band?
Yeah, Moby's old hardcore band.
That'd been kind of cool.
Yeah.
Moby keeps it real, so
they still play like Vatican Commandos. Every once in a while, they'll still book a show in New York.
That's kind of cool. I'd see that. And like Moby keeps it real.
So you said like on tour, that's how when you first went vegan, which is fucking crazy because when I've been on tour, it's like peanut butter and ramen noodles. Like what the fuck did you eat? And now what do you eat? I know it's probably a lot easier now, but
it's ridiculously easy now. But then even there's still places for us to eat there. Like I mean, Chicago Diner has always been around, and but like we had a drummer who was like a health freak. He was like just unbelievably fit and was worried about what he ate. He brought his like blender bottle and all his protein on tour. And he brought like a little rice cooker, like a rice steamer, and he brought like 4 pounds of rice. So every time we like got to a state or to a city, we'd stop off at a grocery store. And at this point, I think he was not vegan or vegetarian, but I think the rest of us were at least vegetarian. Mm-hmm. Like we'd stop and get Morning Star chicken strips and some vegetables from the grocery store, and then we get to the venue, and before we play, we'd plug it in, get everything ready. He'd sit there with like a little cutting board and knife and prepare dinner. And while we played our set, it would sit there and steam and get ready. So right when we were done, we'd have a bottle of teriyaki sauce or soy sauce, and we'd just sit there and all eat. And one time, I think it was in Iowa, we played a VFW hall, and it was so awesome. Like the show was so great. There's so many kids there, but we were steaming broccoli, and everyone started complaining like, it smells so bad in here. And we're like, that's our fault. Like we're the stinky ones because we're all sitting there eating it, going, "This is delicious," but it smells so bad. And like so that's how we survived, on tour, like saving money wise. But nowadays it's unbelievable. Like I think the first tour my band currently did, we strictly routed around places that we like to eat. Like we're not going to go to a city that has crap food. We're going to go we're going to go to Seattle because there's Wayward. It's like we love Salt Lake because of city cakes and verticals there and buds. It's like we strictly plan out our day. Like when we're driving in the middle of the night, we're like, all right, well, we'll probably be in Salt Lake around 7 a.m. That's too early for buds. That's like, but we can go get coffee at this place, and then after that we'll go. It's like our whole day is planned around food. It's like every time, and then the worst part is every time before we leave for tour, we always talk about like we're gonna pack our own food. We're all gonna go to the store. And we're gonna bring stuff and we're going to stop and get bread and make sandwiches and save money this time. Nah, that lasts all but the first day. So it's a pretty disgusting display sometimes. Like I'm always like, well, when's the next time I'm going to be back in LA and eating at Doomy's? It's like probably not for another year. And let alone, I know it's like in 4 months I'll be back in LA eating Doomy's again. And this past time I had like some secret menu thing that was like it's like a double cheeseburger that had bacon and onion rings on it, and the outside buns were grilled cheese sandwiches.
What the fuck?
Hell?
Yeah, it was. I felt so guilty eating it. Like, but when they brought it out on that plate, I was just like, I'm going to eat all of this right now, and the fries that came with it. And and then my dumb drummer is always the one who's like, "Do you want to share dessert?" And I'm always like, "No, I want my own dessert. But I will share with you because I feel so bad right now about what I just ate." So.
I almost want to drive to LA right now. Yeah.
If you go to LA, I recommend Doomy's. Cruisers is a pizza place that's up in Silver Lake, and it's like an all vegan pizza place. It's delicious. They do it. It's just amazing. And apparently, there's like a new Mexican restaurant that does all vegan, which I'm going to be trying in the next couple of weeks. And Sydney, my partner, won't shut up about it. She's like, "We gotta go there. We gotta go there." I was like, "Well, we're going, and we're going. I promise you. We're going to go to Doomy's too, and I'm going to put on a disgusting display of human emotion and ability to eat a lot of food."
So while we're talking about food, how do you feel about native foods?
It came to Denver recently, actually. So like, I never had it until like I went to California one time. I was like, this place is cool. Like, I don't have to question the menu. I don't have to ask like, oh, can I not get cheese on that, or do you do vegan cheese? It's like it was cool. So when it came to Denver, it's like we had a couple options already. Nothing strict vegan in Denver. There's a little bakery called Beatbox that does all vegan, which is really cool. But if you want junk food, it's like you had to go to some places called like Watercourse or City O City, and you have to go specify, I need that vegan, and they're always cool with it. They never, it wasn't like a problem or anything. But like Native Foods came, and it was just like, it was immediately busy. Like all of them, like they're opening, I think, a third one already now, and it's like they're always busy. As far as it goes, I mean, I like it. I'm not gonna front and say I don't like it. Like, oh, they're just a chain of vegan food. It's like, I think they're cool. I think Veggie Grill, places like Native Foods that have the money to do that are awesome. And the fact that like they're all vegan. Like every time we go there, you always see like at least a family with like two people who aren't vegan or a person who isn't vegan, and they're eating the food and going, this is really good. It's like it's breaking these barriers that all we eat is granola and raw tofu, and when we're not eating that, we're out in the front lawn chewing on grass.
I like Native Foods, and I love that it's a franchised. I love that they're building a name for themselves. It was just, I think, way overhyped for me. It's good, but everyone was like, it's the most amazing thing. I'm like, yeah, I think Vertical's better.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's hyped. It's good in its senses, but there's definitely better places around the country. Like Chicago Diner blows everybody out of the water in my eyes. Wayward in Seattle, it kills everyone too. Like that place is delicious. I like Vertical. They're Tender Tigers or whatever. Those things are awesome. I ate a lot of food. Like we were there like I think 3 weeks ago, and we had breakfast there, and I ate a lot of food. I think the waitress was like surprised at how much food we all ate. So
yeah, their biscuits and gravy is really good.
Yeah, the biscuits and gravy. I'm trying to think what I had. I don't remember what I had. I had some like big, I think it was called like the Avalanche or something like that. It's like the
get a Tender Tiger on top, but smother it. Yeah,
keeping that.
Yeah.
We were so bummed, and we were so bummed out because like we're like all of us always like Buds, we're going to Buds, and then like we found out like a friend there, she was like, oh, Buds is closed this week, and we're like, wow, of all weeks for it to be closed, it's going to be closed when we're there.
I think they're still closed. They're closed until like the 2nd of July for some reason.
Yeah, like next week, I think.
I don't know why.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's been awful.
That place is ridiculous. It's one of the best sandwiches I've ever had in my life.
Seriously.
Yeah, if you're in Salt Lake, it's a must-to stop.
Isn't there a place called like Sputnik's that's also in Denver?
Yeah, Sputnik's, and it's a bar, but then it's vegan and non-vegan, and but you can specify vegan, and they pretty much make everything on their menu accessible, and it's good. Like for bar food, it's cheap. You can get like a big old basket of hush puppies and like a falafel wrap, or their mac and cheese is really awesome. It's like, yeah, they do some awesome food there. And it's like I said, Denver has become more accessible, and I think a lot of people overlook it because we're not, we're kind of like Salt Lake. We're stuck in the middle of nowhere in this country. We're not on the coasts. We're not the East Coast where everything's 2 hours apart, and they assume that we ski everywhere and we all wear cowboy hats. And
you don't?
Like, I know, right? Well, only on Saturdays. But like in Denver, it's like it's growing more. There's more and more places that are accessible for vegans, and this place called Watercourse just recently went all vegan. Our guitar player Dave works there in the kitchen, and like they had a change in their head chef, and yeah, they went completely vegan. So it's like cool to see that happen, and with Nooch opening up and being an all vegan market, like one of like 4 in the entire country.
That's awesome.
It's like cool to see Denver kind of like growing in that sense, and it's pretty cool to see.
I love the idea of like all vegan markets. Just, it's crazy to think that you can go into some place and anything you pick up, you can buy. It's awesome.
Amazing.
I'm so ingrained that even when I go to one, I still read everything.
I
think we all do that still. I'll pick up anything and read and go, oh, I don't have to read this, but it's just habits. It's just, it's nature. And yesterday, this family actually came in, and the father and the mother had like a toddler in the stroller, and then like their daughter had to be like maybe 5, and she was adorable. And like he was like, oh, we've been vegan for like 26 years. Both of our kids are born and raised vegan. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And like little girl was real quiet, and then she kind of went up to something and she looked at it, and she looked at her dad, and she goes, is this vegan? And he goes, everything in this store is vegan. Like she just started glowing, like her face got huge, and like it's like that smile on her face was like, this is awesome. Like to see, like I said, a child who understands what veganism is and be so excited. Like, I'm guessing she probably goes to school and probably receives some sort of ridicule from not only classmates, but I'm sure teachers probably go, oh, the vegan lifestyle is probably not healthy for the development of a child, And it's like she and like the father even made a comment that like she's taller than anybody else in her class, and it's like, well, you're doing something right. So it's made like, you know, working there, which sounds corny and romanticized and everything, but like working there kind of worth it to see, you know, a little child's joy and laughter, you know, make your whole day, because it was pretty cool.
You know, I have a little 7-year-old who's born and raised vegan, and I was really worried about, you know, like you were saying about being teased and ridiculed by teachers and not one problem. And so,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Totally amazing. Like there's been a total shift, I think, in cultures across the United States since I was a kid, like towards, you know, veganism.
Yeah, and it's cool to see that, you know. And I heard recently, Sydney was telling me that in LA there's an all like vegan school now, like the cafeteria and everything that they serve the kids is all vegan. So it's like,
that's incredible.
I didn't know LA had one. I know New Jersey had one. I know New York had one. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's super cool to, you know, it's like it's becoming more widely accepted, especially nowadays where like all these allergies that, you know, are coming, you know, be more prevalent. Like I had no idea in elementary schools and actually just schools around the country, like kids aren't allowed to bring peanut butter into school anymore. And it's like, for me, that was like a staple as a child. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. They're not allowed at all.
You know?
PB&Js were what I lived on for a long time.
Yeah. And apparently you can't have it in schools anymore. And I think that's, you know, call me a conspiracy theorist, but it's like, I think that has something to do with what kids have been eating for the past 20 years and what's in the dairy companies' food and what's in what GMOs and what's in meat and what's going into, you know, in people's, you know, plates to their stomachs. I think something's occurring that is making these allergies to, you know, intolerances to peanuts and legumes and tree nuts and, you know, I guess you can even include gluten in there, to be so like huge now, whether being gluten-free is a diet fad or people who like really suffer from celiacs. It's like these things are so prevalent now in culture, like in American culture, that you can't help but think that maybe something with the food had something to do with that, and that these kids are being, you know, deprived of having PB&Js at lunch now. You know
what's crazy to me is one of the things that shocked me a lot about my daughter going to school is she's not the only vegan kid there either.
Well, that's good. You know, that's good. Like at least, like I said, it's like it starts off with community.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't feel alone, then, you know, it's power in numbers. If there's someone else there that they can relate to, like that can be a friendship, a bond built on something like veganism or skateboarding or punk and hardcore. You know, it's like you build that with one another, and that kind of doesn't, like you said, you don't stand alone anymore. You kind of have that power to feel like you are bigger, like, you know, that the decisions you make are bigger than that.
So to throw it on a totally different direction, what's it like being straight edge in a state that now has pot legalized?
You know, honestly, it's like, I always get like a little like eyebrow raise for this one. If there's anything in this world I believe in, it's like, I think weed should be legalized all over the place. It's a lot of my friends smoke weed. A lot of my close friends smoke weed, and, you know, they're complete, like one of my friends, like great friends, he sings for a band called Primitive Man. They're from Denver, and they're in Europe right now. And like they outspokenly talk about how much they smoke weed. Their merch has, you know, leaves on it, and they're such a great band. And he's a teacher. When he comes home, like he teaches children, and like, you know, he's so awesome with them. It's like, it doesn't, just because you smoke weed doesn't make you a criminal. You know what I mean? And it's like, honestly, like I think even in Denver there was a statistic that said like drug-related crime rates have gone down 50% since they legalized, and that's a positive, I think. And, you know, it's just weed. It's not like they, you know, legalized, you know, methamphetamine around here, because I think that would be an issue. But like, you know, weed is a plant; it grows naturally. People have been, you know, smoking it for however long it's been around, you know, for thousands of years. It's like nothing wrong with that. It's not something I would do. It's not something I agree with, like for my body, but not something I have like a total, like, you know, dilemma with. It's like, you know, there's not some huge like green pot cloud around, you know, Colorado now. It's just kind of, you know, you see people smoking it, and it's like, I think more so you see those stupid vape pens. Everyone's smoking some weird little machine. You know, that's big now. Like you see those everywhere. Not people smoking joints or, you know.
Do they have like marijuana vape pens?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh yeah. That's like an oil, I guess, and you put the oil into the vape pen instead of the nicotine, and it comes out as water vapor. You can't smell the weed. And it's like, that's cool with me. Hey, I'm not getting high off of your secondhand smoke, and I'm definitely not getting cancer from your secondhand smoke. And you do what you want to do, and it doesn't bother me. It's like, I guess I'm pretty all right with that. If you think it had some sort of adverse effect on health, or, if they're exploiting animals for it or exploiting people for this, like, this weed, I'd probably be a little bit more like, okay, I don't agree with it for those ethical reasons. But, it's just a bunch of people. It's like, it opened so many jobs in Colorado for people, for kids to quit working at like Whole Foods or whatever to go start being, pickers and clippers and growers at all the massive amounts of like grow houses here and like dispensaries. So
is it really insane as people say? Like, they're saying that dispensaries are almost on every street now?
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're all over. I think there's a law that doesn't allow two to be on the same block anymore or something like that.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong on that. But yeah, they're everywhere. It's like there's probably like more dispensaries than Starbucks. And but yeah, as far as I know, it's like no one, we get people coming like into Nooch from out of like state, and they go, "Where's the nearest dispensary?" I'm like, "It's around the corner. You can go there." And like, "Do you need a license?" Like, "No, you just need your ID. You just have to be 21 or up, and you can just go ahead and go in there like it's a liquor store, pretty much."
I'm the weird, strange kid that's like, everything should be legal. I'm cool with legalizing every drug.
Hey, like I said, like I usually get a curled eyebrow for saying weed should be legalized, but it's like, who cares? It's like, I mean, live and let live until it affects other people or animals. That's where I'm kind of always been with. It's like, if you can take care of yourself and not be a complete piece of crap when you do it, or hurt others or hurt anybody else when you're doing whatever you want to do with your own body, then so be it. But when it jeopardizes others, like your own family, and I have a lot of friends who are torn apart by drug abuse or alcohol abuse, and it's like, that's when I think it becomes an issue. And when people start neglecting the people, like hurt the people closest to them because of an addiction, I think that's definitely my straight edge side coming out. Where
I look at drugs in general as a healthcare issue, not a policing issue. So, like, yeah, we should attack it, and we should attack addiction from a healthcare standpoint, not an imprisonment standpoint.
Exactly. And I don't know what the story is in the U.S. why we can't grasp that, and how other countries seem to flourish just fine and have lower crime rates and lower death rates and everything like that based on drugs.
Has there really been any negative side effects of the legalization in Colorado that you know of? Because I haven't heard of pretty much anything negative yet.
I haven't seen a thing, honestly. Like, I haven't heard a thing. I haven't seen a thing. There's no more sketchy dealings happening in parking lots behind venues or anything like that, like, hardly anymore. But even it's like, other than that, no, I haven't heard of a single backlash from them doing this. It's like, I think the purists and conservatives are probably like, this is awful. This is just degrading and blah blah. It's like, but it's not doing anything other than pissing off some of the right wing conservatives around
How
there.
can they be so mad? Because they're the ones that should be happy that it's bringing so much more money into government.
Yeah, exactly. It's they're reaping benefits, monetarily from it. So what's your beef? What's your beef with it?
They have a share in prison industrial complex.
Probably that too. So yeah, we're not arresting any more drug dealers, so we got to find someone else to arrest around here now. It's like, I guess they'll go after animal activists next or some shit. But
yeah,
how is the animal rights scene in Colorado right now?
Torn apart. There's people who really do care, but I think there's being part of it myself, there's drama that kind of tears it apart. It's weird. Like, you leave the hardcore scene because it's like there's too much drama. Then you realize once you leave that every subgenre or group has their problems, and I think that's what happens. Like, there's a group of like a lot of older people here who do some demos and some peaceful protests. There's hardly any chanting here. It's like when you go to LA where it's 50, 60 deep and it's loud, and they're doing home demos and wearing masks and and all these things like that. It's like they stand out wearing, like, we're all going to wear pink this Saturday and we're going to hold signs up for puppies. It's like their efforts are greatly appreciated. I'm glad that someone's doing it and bringing attention to like the fur stores we have here, and to the circus and the rodeo. But I think it's sad to see that there's not a lot of younger people involved. Some of the younger activists that are here are very they not only fight for animal rights but human rights. A lot of there's a strong feminism notion here in Denver, and it's like I think that younger crowd also needs to take that passion too of like the education they're receiving in college on human rights and feminism and anti-misogyny, and kind of put that towards because most of them are vegan too. It's like, and put that towards animal rights. That it's like if there's more of us there, we make an impact. We can change this thing. Whether you believe in direct action or you believe that protesting is good, it's like either way, you're still making an effort for the animals. And I think any effort made is something that should matter, not being so messed up with the drama of like, oh, this lady did this, or this person did this, and this guy said this weekend. It's like, be adults, talk about it, and go, I don't like what you said, or instead of blasting each other on Facebook and not showing up. It's like in the end, ultimately, animals are the ones suffering from people having their differences, which makes me mad. And like I said, like I volunteer at Peaceful Prairie, and most of the people that volunteer are older people, and that's great. But it's like, where are the younger kids who have the passion, and the fire, and are and can do this? A lot of these people, the older people, have 9 to 5 jobs and salary pay, and they can't go every weekend. Where some kids are just they have a little bit more of a flexible and open schedule that would allow them to go and volunteer their time. Whether it's at Peaceful Prairie, there's a lot of wildlife sanctuaries around Colorado. Like I said, there's the bunny rescue. There's so many opportunities, and like, especially in Colorado, hunting is huge here, and Utah as well. And it's like, Eric from the Hunt Sabs always comes to Denver and does like workshops and talks about hunt sabs. And, it's like, there's an opportunity there for kids to band together and do something and make a difference. And I don't know if they're scared or they just have, I don't know, whatever hot show is on Thursday nights that everyone has to watch. Game of Thrones is on Sunday, that deters them away from having a meeting or getting together and organizing something. It's like it's sad. It's sad to see, and I wish like that it would grow a little bit better, or there was a better binding agent to all of it. But hopefully like I said, it's like the hardcore scene. It's like every so often there's a shift. Everyone's like, I hate these kids, but in a year, who's going to be around? Things change a lot in a year, and who's to say Denver's always going to be like this? And 2 years from now, we're all going to be watching the news and seeing that Denver is some huge activist hub for animal rights. It's like just can't lose hope in it. You can get frustrated and be saddened by it, but never lose hope, because once you lose the hope and then apathy takes over, then that's when it's pretty much done for.
It's really interesting that you say that your problem is not having enough of the youth, and
that's what
we're just the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's youth driven, which means that they hit their early to mid 20s, they get jaded and then stop. So it just maintains this,
or arrested.
Yeah. And then that causes being jaded, and then
I'm sure that deters some people away when they see that happen. But
and so we have this constant cycle of very young, enthusiastic but not guided youth.
Exactly, and I think it's a fine balance. I say, we have too many old people, not enough young kids. But if you have young kids, they need to at least be guided and not just run pure off of their anger and passion. It's good to have that, but it must be controlled. It has to be, your anger and the fire that you have has to be somewhat controlled to be able to steer it the right way.
It turns too much into Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens, and then it becomes incestuous and everything that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's dangerous, but it's a fine balance. I think that's when I say kids again, but people should, have patience with the younger activists who want to be interested in something, and, try to build a community out of it, as opposed to being like, well, you're on your own, youngins, like, see you later. It's like, try to teach them something, and then after that, slowly bow away,
For sure. I'd say that our community is currently pretty dead right now. But that shouldn't deter people. If your community is dead, you should just fucking go out and do it yourself. And
exactly. Like Sydney does, the demos against Chipotle, and most of the time she's out there by herself, and I wish I could be with her, but sometimes, I have to work when she plans them. And every time I, see her go alone, like a little part of me dies on the inside and going, she has so much hope and heart for this and believes in it so much, and no one wants to join her. And it's like, that's heartbreaking. It's like, I believe in what she does so much. And, but it's like, it's just hard to see that some people just don't care, but you're right. Like, just within that one person, that little fire within that one person who still has it, hopefully that leads by example and a positive example, and other people start following,
Chipotle, that's the Happy Meat, right?
Yeah, the Happy Meat controversy.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't confused about that.
Yeah. She protesting against like them using the whole humane Happy Meat.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's amazing how much it builds, and you can talk to other activists of people who have organized and then done demos by themselves week after week.
Mm-hmm.
It builds a certain character, but it fucking is terrible.
It's harsh. It's disheartening. It's
totally.
like, it's disheartening. Like, the Bunny Alliance was out here a while back, and Jordan and Tyler from Bunny Alliance were both like, well, we're expecting, like, they're assuming it was only going to be me and, Sydney out at the airport protesting against Delta, and ended up being like 12 people showed up, and they're like, this is amazing. Denver's great. And we're like, wow, what the hell happened here? Like, who are these people and where the hell did you come from? But it was awesome. It was such a successful demo. People were taking pamphlets, and some people were like, I don't think we turned anybody away from their ticket or anything, but the Denver Post, like the Denver Post was there, and they did a whole article write up on, the Bunny Alliance. And it was awesome. It was such a successful day. They took pictures, and, it's like, it's so hit or miss sometimes. But like, you're right. Like, some activists, like the Bunny Alliance will get in a van and do the whole country and try to band people together for the cause. And like they even said, some places 2 people show up, and, but they still have the strength and the courage to get in the van and drive 8 hours and go to the next airport and hopefully band 2 people together. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so, you got to give them that credit. And same thing goes to, Eric and Hunt Sabs of North America. It's like, to see them try, it's like, that's commendable, to see people still care and give a damn. And whether they're standing alone or they're standing with 60 people at SeaWorld, like, I guess however many people are at SeaWorld now, it's like, you got to keep trying. And to stop trying, like I said, would be the death of it all. And then ultimately the animals suffer. And that's what I think all of us stand against. And,
it reminds me, I was talking to a high school kid at our rendezvous last year, and they were asking me, how can I get more people to come out to my demos? I made a demo, I put out flyers, I only had 5 people show up. I'm like, holy shit, you had fucking 5 people show up to your first demo?
People?
Like,
how'd you get 5 people?
Yeah, I'm like, that's goddamn amazing. You should be proud of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that. You're like, 5 people showed up, it's like, it's a huge victory just to have 5 people show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got 5 people to leave their house, get off their couch, not focus on themselves for a second, and actually, give a shit. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see that. And then I think,
we've been put on hold.
You still there?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was weird. I got a phone call and it put you on hold. It was awkward.
That's all good.
But I think I lost my train of thought. I saw the name on my phone. I was like, why is this person calling me? That's out of the blue. But yeah, I think as the older group of people that are in it, they have to encourage that and nurture that, and the younger ones and go, how do I get more people? And it's like 5 people. It's like, that's a great job. Like, be happy that you did that, and hopefully next time 6 will come out, and maybe 4 will be the next time after that, but maybe you'll get 7. It's like, and even if you can keep that core group of 5 people to still go, that's a huge victory in of itself. Like, for a while there, we had a really strong group doing fur demos here in Denver, because there's this real piece of crap who owns a fur store here, and he's a piece of work. And for a while there, we had at least 12 strong doing it every Saturday, and we had, we had the megaphones, we were chanting, and it was really bugging him. It was getting to his core. Like, his daughter was getting in on it, and like the neighbors around were starting to disrupt them. And like, one lady came up and she was just like, what's it going to take for you guys not to do this every Saturday? Like, get him out of here. That's like, once he's gone, we're gone. And like, she kind of clicked in her head a little bit. You can see her go, oh yeah, he's the problem, and it's like, we had so many people like driving by that would support us, honk their horns. And it was so awesome. And, then a fight broke out. He actually followed me for like 9 blocks to the neighborhood. He hated me because I always wore a bandana over my face, mainly because I worked at the Whole Foods like a half a block away. It's like, last thing I want is to have him come in while I'm like, I was a supervisor, like be taking care of my, the floor, and have him come in and start yelling at me and go, great, here we go. I got to explain to my, my higher aboves and go, this is what's happening. This is what I do in my free time. And this guy's freaking out at me, so I just did it for the safety of my job. And he hated me for it because, I'm 6'3", broad shoulders. I had, long hair, and I have a loud voice because I sing in a band too. And, he just hated me for that. And he followed me. And that day I rode my bike, and I walked up to my bike, and I saw him behind me. I was like, oh, so I left my bike and went walking. And, some of my friends kind of built a barrier between me and him, and they were like holding hands, and they were skipping and singing a song. And he broke through the barrier, pushing one of my friends to the ground, like kind of pushing her to the side and hurting her arm. And when he did that, he dropped his sunglasses and his cell phone. And my other friends started kicking him, like just kind of like, to pester him a little bit, like just like, oh, we're going to kick your glasses that way. And someone else kicked his phone. And at this whole time, someone's filming, and the whole incident. And he gets up, he grabs his sunglasses and pushes one of my friends. And I was like, we got it. That's assault. We got him. And then my friend kind of lost his temper and punched him really hard in the face. And then it turned into a skirmish after that. And the cops came and just called it a public or fighting in public charge, which is a ticket and a show up to court. And it was just like, oh, we almost had him. But it was at the same time, even though we couldn't get legal action on him, it was just the fact that we knew we got him. Like we were bugging him so bad, that we were just messing with him. And people stopped coming into the stores on Saturdays because they didn't want to deal with us outside. And it was so awesome. And then it just kind of fell apart due to some inner problems, which, like I said, the drama part of it just ripped it to shreds. And it was such a beautiful thing that was happening, and just kind of fell right apart. And it was just like, ugh, it's like, if there's anybody that wants to put together demos or put together a group, it's like, stay strong, keep that group strong, and enjoy it while it lasts, because it's not going to be forever that some of these people stay. A lot of people move to other cities, or some people just lose the momentum to do it, or they get new jobs and they have to work on Saturdays and Sundays or whatever day works for everyone. And but I think the best advice is like, go strong with it, take it as hard as you can, because it's going to end eventually. I guess that's everything in life, but while you have it, take the best advantage of it.
For sure. So, how can people get in contact with you? We didn't even talk about your band at all. That's my bad, but we've been...
Oh, I don't know. That's fine. I'm in a band called A Feather and Bone. We're from here in Denver, obviously. We're a 3-piece. We're all vegan. We're all straight edge. Something we kind of kept... It was an inner struggle between all three of us to kind of discuss if we were going to be openly a vegan band or a straight edge band. It's kind of started off that way, but then we were like, we don't want to alienate anybody from our music who may be into it and feel like, oh, I think a lot of people are like, I can't listen to Earth Crisis because I'm not vegan or straight edge, It's like, and honestly, part of me says, well, fuck you don't deserve to listen to it anyways. But, it's like, but at the same time, I think we wanted for this band to be a little bit more accessible to everyone. And so I kind of took a different approach on my lyrics, where if you were to read it in depth, you would definitely see where my veganism comes out in it, and like with my anger. But I made it a very general, just in my disdain for the human species, and it's pretty angry. But if you're into like, I don't know, we heard so many different comparisons to our band that it's like we don't even know anymore. But if you're into like just fast, crusty grind, like blackened hardcore, then you'll like us. But we have a new 7-inch out right now on Mind Melt Records from Seattle, a small label, really awesome dude, really cool ideas. And that's out. We have a split with a really cool band from Wyoming called Reproacher. A lot of those dudes are vegan, and they're awesome dudes too. Like, it's Wyoming. Everyone's like, whoa, what's up there? And they live in Laramie, and there's like a really cool vegan restaurant up there. It's actually pretty...
In Laramie?
Laramie?
Yeah, it's called Sweet Melissa's, and they have this awesome seitan steak with like mashed potatoes and like sweet potato biscuits and gravy. Oh, it's
really
ridiculous. Right, but yeah, you wouldn't think in Laramie, Wyoming. Who the hell knew? And it was so delicious. But it's like, yeah, we put a split out with them, and they're really good friends of ours. And we're going to be doing an East Coast and Canadian tour and come in August. And yeah, that's pretty much it on that one.
So how can people connect with you on social media?
For A Feather and Bone, just go to, we have a Facebook page. If you feel so inclined, like it. Our Bandcamp has all our music on it right now for free. So go ahead and download away and spread it to your all your friends and your grandma. It's a feather and bone 666.bandcamp.com. Yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of us in any way, because I think there's an email contact on there.
Sweet. Well, we end every show saying "fuck, shit, damn." Would you mind saying it for us this week?
Fuck, shit, damn.
Yeah,
That's it.
All
that's it.
right, they had a question mark after that. Like, I'm Ron Burgundy.
Fuck shit, damn.
Fuck, shit, damn.
Awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good night.
And Jordan, Sydney says hi.
Hi, Sydney.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.
This week you heard Moonlit Sailor, Mayday,
Right now you're listening to...
Tipper, Covered in Lobsters.
I know, it's a funny name, right?
You have a sailor one and a lobster one.
Yeah.
And as always,
El Comandante.
which side are you on?
Okay. I'm going to be a broken record at the end here every single week. iTunes, rate and review. Everyone who's done it, I love you. But just like Writing a Prisoner, a lot of people just don't do it.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Also, social media. We offer a lot of things on social media that we don't mention on the podcast. We will do giveaways and we'll announce news from all over the world.
And just shoot the shit with you. Either our interns or me or Jordan. They just are there to have fun. Because that's what this is all about. So have some fucking fun with us on social media.
And like us. You can find all of our social media accounts at whichsidepodcast.com. Just click on the social tab.
Also, check out some of the podcasts that we have coming out on the Which Side Media Collective, whichsidemediacollective.org. Hey, if you like these podcasts every single week, we do a bonus episode, we give you outtakes, a whole bunch of other stuff for free. If you
Zines.
remember, movies. Well, hopefully we have some coming out. Maybe.
Yeah, so right now we're offering a discounted rate by purchasing something from our wish list. If you go to whichsidepodcast.com, click on members or click on wish list, and you can find out ways to become a member.
Fuck. Shit, damn.
Fuck shit down. Fuck shit down.
Which Side is produced by the Which Side Media Collective.